Aloha guys. Today I want to talk about personal development. So the first word is personal. That means your personal activities, your personal philosophies, your personal practices on a daily basis that will make you to be a successful quote unquote project manager. Okay. So that's a topic. Personal development. Well, when we talk about personal development, the first thing people is going to respond to me was, oh, I go to the gym, I got a good bodies, I'm very healthy physically, I can do this, I can do that. Well, that's only part of personal development. That's more like that to me, it's more like personal beautification, right? Make you stronger, make you more attractive, make you more charismatic because of the energy, physical energy that you put in there. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm going to share with you today is from the perspective of project manager. Okay. Well, let's talk about what is a project. A project is something that's temporary, right? Such as life. It has a beginning, has an end, and in the middle, we have distraction. Okay. How do we conquer those distractions is through our personal competencies as a project manager. So I'm quoting the PMI, Project Management Institute, PMBOK, PMBOK. A lot of people pronounce it PMBOK, but some people call it PMBOK. That's okay. The BOK is body of knowledge. Okay, body of knowledge. So from that PMBOK, part of the competencies, they're divided into two domains, professional and personal. Okay, so in personal, there are 6 components. Okay, the first one is leadership. The second one is teamwork. And then the third one is relationships within the team itself. And then motivation and mentoring, accountability, and influencing skills, right? So I'm going to give you a 30,000 feet description of this each item so you know what I'm talking about. So in terms of leadership, what we look for, right? What we're trying to develop is a leader who is responsible for the success and failure of a project, right? So if you look at Japan as a country, for example, with their Japanese culture, if there is a disaster of some kind, could be a railway disaster, right? Who took responsibilities is the highest in that position. Could be Ministry of Transportation, right? Back in the day, they might do something more extreme, like physical infliction on their own body. But nowadays, retirement is enough. Rather than the regular concept of project manager who is blaming, whether blaming the system, blaming the environment, so a lot of blaming. Okay? So that's one of the concept that of leadership that we're going to explore more. And the next one is team. If you look at any corporations, any structured organization, you think you have a team? No, you don't. You have individuals who have been boxed or encapsulated into a departments or functional capabilities or functional missions or some kind of tactical requirements, right? Nothing of a team, because the definition of a team is more than one people who can work closely together, right, to accomplish the team's objective. So teaming is not as easy as we think. Okay? So that's the second concept, right? So you got leadership, you got teaming, and then the third one is relationship. Well, most people ask me this question, what do you mean by relationship? My first take is, do you have a relationship with yourself? Of course I do. Are you sure? Then when I said that, the person will stop and then gonna, well, not really, because I don't know who I am. Okay? So if you don't know who I am, how can you say you have a relationship with other people? That means you're going to mislead other people, because most people are wearing masks, especially when you work for corporate America, right? You have that honeymoon period, right? You got to smile to everybody. And then after you pass that, you got to perform. So, which is a typical trend or typical rhythm of any organization's dynamics, right? So you know that building a relationship is start with yourself first. So we're going to cover that topic in detail with exercises, workshops, right? So I've mentioned leadership, I've mentioned how to create a team, and then this one is relationship, right? And mentoring. Mentoring is motivating people. There are several theories of motivations. There's Herzberg theory of motivation. People are generally in a project are motivated by money, right? Some people are motivated by what? By title. Some people are motivated by their roles. Everything is up, 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 right? So that in the Chinese philosophy, or more like Asian philosophy, uh, it's called the yang energy. It's called the yang energy, the fire in your belly, right? In Bahasa Indonesia, they call it the api jiwa, right? Api is fire and jiwa is your soul that fire you to get forward. That you need to use the yang energy. The yin energy is when you sit down and you look at project plan. Oh, I think this project gonna be in trouble because there's too many risks, right? Those are the yin energy. So in motivating people, you have to understand what makes them effective and efficient. And that leads to the next point, which is accountability. How do you make people accountable of what they said they're going to do? How are you going to make people that's been telling you, I'm a lifelong learner, but you ask them, what kind of books have you been reading lately? Nothing. And then you ask them why, is it, my project is too busy. So then you got a problem, right? And the last point is the I, which is the influence, right? How do you influence first yourself that this project has to be successful? Also, when you brought in a trouble project, the project that's usually behind schedule, behind budget, and out of scope, or beyond the original scope, how do you influence yourself that, hey, we are being hired because we take salary, right? That our job is to solve this problem. Okay, so those are personal development. The 6 components start with leaderships, and then we go to team. Then the next one is relationship, and then the next one is motivation and mentoring, your team, and also how do you install this concept of accountability, not just individually, but as a team and also as a project. Accountability is very important. When things go wrong, that's when the real leader stands out. Yeah. So the last one is influence, and influencing. There are many resources. On my next video, I'm going to cover this topic from book perspective, right? So from each area, I'm going to share with you 9 books. If you do the math correctly, 6 times 9 is 54. So you will be exposed to 54 books, right, that I have read in my past 30 years that I thought these are the 9 gems that all of you have to embrace, at least be aware, right? And then get the bits and pieces that you can use immediately. All right. So those are the preview that I'm sharing with you. This is going to be exciting. So stay with me. I'll be right back. Thank you and aloha, guys.